grab your big book, your pen, your highlighter, and notepad and get ready to hear and apply some of the solution from the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous through the experience, strength, and hope of Nikki M. To have a question addressed in a future episode of Noodle It Out with Nikki, please send an email to noodlewithnikki@gmail.com, and Nikki is spelled with 2 Ks. To get a more interactive experience with Nikki as she noodles out life and recovery questions using the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous, you can get a link to her weekly Noodle It Out with Nikki meeting held live on Zoom every Monday morning at 9 o'clock Eastern Time. The information to that meeting is in the show notes of this podcast. God morning, God afternoon, and God evening to all. My name is Justin B. I am a son of an all-powerful and perfectly loving God. I am a son of an all-powerful and perfectly loving God and a qualifying addict of multiple fellowships, living in the miracle of recovery. And I'm here with the intelligent agent, spearhead of God's ever-advancing creation, and my co-host, Nikki M. Nikki, why don't you take a minute and say hi?
Hi, everybody. I'm Nikki M, and I'm grateful to have hopefully working internet. I'm grateful to be at the table with my brother, a miracle of God, a reborn child like myself, because we use the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous. I'm also known as Noodle Nikki, and it's just a fantastic day to be alive. There's lots of weirdness in the world, but when you work this particular program, you see miracles daily. So let's get into this, Justin.
Thank you, Nikki. Let's get into it. And Nikki, what we do here, and you out there listening, is we take questions from you, from us, from people we work with in our recovery work, to the Big Book, and seek an answer to questions that come to us. And we're going to do that just today with an email that came through in the noodlewithnikki@gmail.com. Nikki's with 2 Ks. Noodlewithnikki@gmail.com. We got an email from one of the listeners out here, from Hannah. And I'm just going to read that email to you, Nikki, and then we'll go through the question that she has and relate it to, whatever situations may be out there. That's what we do with the Big Book, is we find how it works in our lives. So get ready, everybody out there, grab your Big Book, get ready to go page to page, line to line, and dive deep into finding the solution to the problems that are, facing us in our lives. This email is from Hannah. Hannah says, I'm a huge fan. Nikki, you are so inspiring. Here's my question. How does the Big Book tell me to handle moving back to a city and needing to make all new friends while heartbroken and traumatized by being in the same place as where I lived with my ex? Thank you so much. I really look forward to hopefully hearing your answer on the podcast. Well, you're going to hear the answer on the podcast, Hannah. Thank you for sending in that email. So, Nikki, quick rephrase of that question. How does the Big Book tell me to handle moving back to a place I used to live in active addiction and having to make all new friends? So, Nikki, what does the book say?
Oh, Hannah, we love you too. I'm a big fan of yours because you are me and I am you. Like, we're all one. Let's just start there, which is really cool. And I'm just grateful you participate in not only your recovery, but mine and Justin's recovery. So let's just start there. Thank you, everybody listening, your seventh, your questions, your love, and your support, and sharing this recovery. The recovery answers are all found in the 4th edition of the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous. So, Hannah, you sound like you may be suffering from love addiction, codependency, the people addiction, the disease of self, the family disease of alcoholism, the ism. So let's get into it. Here's your question. Number 1, if you are not working a 12-step program, you will not be able to handle anything. Okay, that's just right. I mean, I see Justin going, yep, because we are in a recovery program that comes with 12 steps. It comes with an instruction book. It comes with clear cut directions on how to get to a power greater than yourself that will solve all your problems. So number 1, Hannah, do you have a sponsor? Let's just say it's yes. And if you don't, get one. Okay. Have you worked all 12 steps? Let's just assume you have. Yes. If you haven't, you're not going to make it. This is what this is about, working all 12 steps all damn day. If you aren't sponsoring, Hannah, you're not going to make it, because my book on page 15 says when all other measures fail, work with another addict will save the day. So this is serious stuff. Now, what I'm hearing here is you're heartbroken. Well, let me get honest with you, Hannah. Page 62 says you made decisions based on self that later placed you in a position to be hurt, or in this case, heartbroken. No one held a gun to your head. I mean, maybe they did. I don't know, have all the details, everybody, but let's just get honest here. You are responsible for your illness and you are responsible for your recovery. Traumatized? Well, Justin and I at the table, we don't use that word because our big book on page 124 says your past is your greatest asset when you place it in your higher power's hands or in the highest vibration on the earth, which is love, and you're going to use your past to help somebody. So let's just get rid of that word trauma because your past is your greatest asset. Let's even get deeper. Page 417 says, nothing happens in God's world by mistake, Hannah. That everything is exactly the way it's supposed to be, Hannah. Now, this is not in the big book, but I'm going to tell you that you're in Earth School. And that's why you need a new program, Hannah. Your old life. Remember, it says our addict life, our alcoholic life is our only normal one. I think that's in the doctor's opinion or somewhere in there. Our addict life. Okay, so let's go deep here, Hannah. I'm moving slow because I wasn't sure if the internet was moving slow or me because I heard a hiccup. Okay, I'm okay, so good. So here it is, Hannah. My big book and Justin's big book and your big book on page 114 says, but sometimes you must start life anew. We have to start life anew because your question says you moving back to a city and you're needing to make all new friends. Well, my book says sometimes you have to start life anew. We know women, and I assume Hannah, with your beautiful name, I mean, anyone could have it, but you're a woman. So we know women who have done it. And if you're one of our gentlemen friend listening, well, we know men, many people, earthlings, if you just want to be a pronoun, earthlings, spearheads who have done this. If such women adopt a spiritual way of life, their road will be smoother. So, Hannah, the big word here is spiritual way of life. If you're just moving back, blotting out your consciousness, I think it's page 24 says, we blot out our consciousness. And just turn and look. 24, 25. Or if you're just doing that, there it is, 25. If you are just, see, you have two alternatives. Let's go there, Hannah, real quick. I'm still on page 14 with those thoughts, 114 with those thoughts. But I'm here on page 25, Hannah. See, it says you've passed into a region. If you're like me and Justin and everybody here, we are beyond human aid. So we have two alternatives. One, you can go to the bitter end of your human existence, blotting out your consciousness. Justin and I just prayed ourselves in before we came here. Why? Both of us like to blot our consciousness out with thoughts, with things that aren't even real. And that's what you're doing here, Hannah. I mean, this podcast is more for Justin and me than Hannah today. We're blotting out our consciousness with thoughts. Even though our situation isn't so intolerable, yours may be because you're in complete fear. Justin and I are just forgetting that we tapped power, says page 163. Justin and I are forgetting that we're intelligent agent spearheads, that we stand tall as God's people, that miracles happen. So, this is what the book says for us, and it happens for you too, Hannah, if you follow these exact instructions. Do you want to come in here for a second, Mr. B?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Nikki. That I don't know how I have not recognized or heard or read that paragraph that you talked about on page 114, but sometimes you must start life anew. We know people who have done it. If such people adopt a spiritual way of life, their road will be smoother. I love that. And like I said, I don't ever recall reading, seeing, or hearing that. It wasn't marked in my book. And it's just something that really got me thinking. And what does that mean to start life anew? Well, it could mean moving in back into a city, going a geographic change. It could be anything, but it also could be, you know what? Today, God, is a new day. Make me a new person today. Let me shed the self of yesterday and find who you want me to be today. And that's just something that really has me thinking about that. Nikki, any further thoughts on that?
Well, yeah, since you're back on page 114, Justin, let's just roll our eyes up. And you must have this line highlighted. It says, "The power of God goes deep." I know you do. I see you shaking your head. It's like my line out says, "Endless power." So, Hannah, you're moving to a new city. You've got endless power if you have tapped the power of God because it goes real deep. See, all of this is deep in your mind. This is, let's go deep, everybody. Goggles, snorkels, as Justin liked to say. Um, we we go deep in our consciousness here. We go deep into new programming that you get to move to a new city and start life anew, but you live off spiritual principles. So what does that look like? You get humble and you're like, I don't know what God has planned. You're like Forrest Gump. Life is like a box of chocolate. You never know what you're going to get. Oh, everyone watched that movie. So sweet. And then you got to get responsible. So if you're just going there, not armed with the facts, not prepared, getting your apartment, getting your job, I don't know what your situation looks like, making sure you have legal parking. I mean, these are all the things. Where's the nearest grocery store? I don't know if you have kids. Like, are you being responsible, lining up all the duties that you need to do? Because page 420 says we never just sit and wait for God to tell us what to do. We do the next right thing. And however that turns out for us, that's God's will. That's God's plan. I'm less and less interested in my own plans and designs because I take a sincere position every day, Hannah and Justin and Nikki, to be less and less interested in the outcome of my life. This is a radical program. So let's go to the next page. Because let me look at the question. Justin, you're so kind to pop that in the chat so I can kind of look over it too. Because we already got through the heartbroken and traumatized part by being in the same place. Oh, so you're in the same place where you lived as your ex. So let's okay, let's roll back to page 1. This is why I want to go here, Justin. And we just did it, you guys. We have a podcast with our favorite guy, David G. We go line by line through the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, and we are just finishing working with others. So assuming you're spiritually fit on page 100, Hannah, because you said I have to go to the same place where my ex is, where my drug of choice is. Let's go deeper where my drug of non-choice is. And here it is. If you're spiritually fit, Hannah, you can do all sorts of things that heartbroken, traumatized ex addicts aren't supposed to do. See, people will say to Hannah, so make sure Hannah, page, I think it's 74, 75. My mind is moving slow this morning. Well, we're on a lot of pages too, Justin, is talk to the right person, Hannah. Because if you start getting your God squad that goes, you can't do that. He's going to be there, Hannah. Don't go there. They're not tapped into a power. They're not speaking big book. They're not arming you with the facts and speaking truth over you, Hannah, because I'm here to tell you that if you talk to the right person, the properly appointed authority, and right now that's me and our friend Justin, and it says right here, it's a lie. It says that's not our experience. Because all here, like on page 101, you can't be reminded of your ex. You can't go here and there. You can't see this and that. You can't talk to this and that. That is a lie. You can do everything and anything you want to do when you're tapped into this power greater than yourself, Hannah. You know, it says right here, Hannah, here's the facts. You meet these conditions every day, whether it's your ex, whether it's your mom you're mad at, whether it's the government, whether it's bad weather, whether it's your plans and designs, whether it's your new job that you're worried about that you're not going to perform at, Hannah. Because we meet these conditions every day. What conditions? Life coming at us, the matrix, the video game. Earth School. And so an addict or an alcoholic or a member of our program who cannot meet the world's conditions every day still has an alcoholic mind, says the book. And there is something wrong with your spiritual status. I mean, it's that plain and simple. We can go anywhere and do anything. We can go anywhere and do anything. There's something the matter with your spiritual status, Hannah. Okay, I'm here adjusting. Sorry, Justin. I've got my phone, my stand, and I see you on your in your little desk looking at different screens. Come to Canada and set me up with a whole noodle system. Get in here, some thoughts.
Yeah, thank you. So I want to go a little bit further, a couple pages later on page 102, as we're talking about we can do all sorts of things other alcoholics can't do if we're in fit spiritual condition. If Hannah, if I'm out there in the streets of whatever city you're in now, and I'm feeling traumatized, I'm feeling heartbroken, I'm feeling overwhelmed because I'm in the same place that I lived with my ex, whatever that may be. Maybe we need to turn over to page 102 and say, but if you are shaky, you had better work with another alcoholic instead. Because I think that's an amazing barometer to know, am I in fit spiritual condition or not? If I'm starting moving towards what other alcoholics may not be able to do because I think I've tapped into a power and I start feeling that dis-ease, that unease, and the restless, irritable discontent, the fear, the resentment, the dishonesty, the whatever it may be, the selfishness, then maybe I need to take a step back and tap into power by working with another alcoholic instead, rather than barging forward. Now, does that mean that I can't go anywhere if I'm feeling fear? No, no. But if I'm not in fit spiritual condition and I'm crumbling, maybe I should give my sponsor a call. Maybe I should give my sponsee a call. Maybe I should work with somebody else and get back on solid ground and tapped into the power so that I can do what I need to do. Any other thoughts on that, Nikki?
Well, as you were talking over Hannah, I heard yes or no. That's all. Like it's a black and white program sometimes here, you guys. It's like page 53 is you have to choose God is everything or God is nothing. And that's a daily decision. Let me just look at it. Page 53, it says, when you became crushed by a self imposed crises, you did everybody out there. If you're over 18, you did it to yourself. Nikki, I like this. Well, oh, I know. I was hearing a story yesterday from my friend, some experience, strength, and hope. And she's like, yeah, he was abused, Nikki. And I said, no one held a gun to this guy's head. He chose it. He chose this lifestyle. He didn't want to get out of it. He liked all the stuff his lover was giving him. No, he wasn't abused. He chose that. So here it is. We can't postpone or evade. We have to fearlessly, there it is, every day. Everyone line out. Every day we got to fearlessly face the proposition that God is everything or else God is nothing. God either is or God either isn't. What is your choice to be? My line out, I wrote it out, Justin, says God is everything. And then my other line out, of course, is every day. But I want to end here and then you can give us our final closing, which is this page 116. Hannah, go here. We have elsewhere remarked. It's a second third paragraph down, 116. To the wives, everybody, when you read it in first person. And actually, it's funny. We're just talking about how important this chapter is, Justin, and how we need to still go line by line through it. So here it is, Hannah. There's signs everywhere. You looking for the synchronicities? It's not karaoke, but signs everywhere. There's signs. Okay. We have remarked how much better life is when lived on a spiritual plane. I see Justin. Yes, he's saying yes, yes, madam. I'm saying yes, sir. It certainly is. If God, if the spiritual principles can solve the age old riddle of alcoholism and addiction, Hannah, don't you think God can solve your problem of living in the same city with your ex? Like, go deep here. It's like, it says like everybody else. I'm excluding words to read it right to Hannah here. Like everybody else, Hannah, The entire human race is afflicted with pride, self pity, vanity, all the things that go to make up the self centered person. We're all mirror reflections. We're all living this. Okay. It says we need to apply spiritual principles, right? Go down a little further. The last paragraph here says, but it was a silly idea to think that we're too good to need God. And where do you find God, Hannah? Inside you, in your innermost self. Stop looking out, everybody. Look in for God, because it says now fast. I don't like the word try, says my friend Yoda. Do or do not, there is no try. We put spiritual principles to work in every department of our lives. Facts. Facts. There's no fake news when it comes to the big book. Mr. B?
Nikki, this has been a really good exercise for me, and although I don't find myself in, anything that I can immediately connect to what Hannah shares here this time, there's just been some insights in here that are really helping me today, and I really appreciate how God, how spiritual principles, how higher power works in these recordings that you and I do. It just comes back around and helps me and helps you and helps those that are listening. Everybody out there, if you have if you've experienced a change of heart, if you've experienced something that you heard during this meeting that you're like, wow, I need to put that into action, do it. Because if you aren't putting it into action, it's not going to do you, me, or anybody else any good. Words mean nothing until they are put into action. So put it into action, everybody. And I think that goes right into the line that I often use this. It works when I work it. So work it. You are worth it.